it's living in a truth that you can't see. That's what faith is. Most of us are trained and schooled, indoctrinated to have proof over here, science over here, reality over here, and then faith over here. As though somehow faith didn't fall into the same category as truth and reality. That which is scientific, that which our five senses know how to process, we classify as truth. We classify it as real. I can hold it, it's real. I can see it, it's real. It can have a weight and a measurement, it's real. But if it can't, well, then it's got to be over here relegated to this category of faith. But it's no less truth. That in which we have faith is no less true or no less real. It's just that we don't have the tools yet. And that's very important because, sadly, so much of the world, the West particularly, but it's seeping into India even more, we're really brainwashed into this scientific worldview that says that which science gives you is true. Because, look, we've measured it. We've taken a picture of it. We've got some equation for it. And there's actually two problems there. Number one, it was true long before science discovered it. Gravity existed long before the apple fell on Newton's head. Gravity existed and followed all the laws long before students were able to calculate with an equation. You know, when I was in school studying physics, they'd say to you, okay, a 40-kilogram boy jumps out of a window 15 meters off the ground. How long does it take him to hit the ground? And you can figure it out. There's equations for this. How much he weighs, gravity, velocity. But all of that existed long before students were able to figure it out. Long before there was a class in physics that made us memorize equations. And the minute we realize that, we realize, well, what are we going to, quote unquote, discover tomorrow? And is it not true today? Is something only true once science has named it and has given us an equation for it? Well, obviously not. I mean, we can obviously all look backwards and say gravity existed before we got the equation for it. And yet, they want to convince us that nothing exists today that they don't have an equation for. And the tragedy with that is that which really has the power to make our lives move, love, God, our faith in God, you can't measure it. It doesn't have a volume. You can't see it under a microscope or in a telescope. And yet, of course, it exists. Even those who don't necessarily believe in God agree that love exists. But science would tell us that you'd have to have faith. And the minute that you start talking about faith, It's as though it's for people who aren't satisfied with that which is true and real. That tends to be the realm of faith. And in my mind, it's a great, great tragedy. Because faith is actually that which holds us together. Faith is that which says, I know we don't have the tool right now, but this is an experience I've had. And if I said to you, do you love your children? You'd say yes. I'd say no. Well, but here's the thing. There is no actual proof, right? I mean, the simple fact that you've put them in clothes and have fed them, that's not proof. That's only proof that you don't want to get arrested. You can't actually prove love. You can't show it to me. It's not tangible. And yet, everyone who has ever been in love, whether a romantic love, whether a love for a parent, a child, a pet, we all know love exists. It doesn't take faith. But then when we start talking about God, the divine, a divine plan, oh, you have to just have faith, or oh, those are the people of faith. Well, this is what holds our world together. The way that love is just an expression of the divine. That's what we love in each other. It's not the body. I mean, the cells of her body, since I started loving her, the cells of her body have all changed. It wasn't the cells I loved. It wasn't her clothes, she's changed them. The cells themselves have regenerated. So it's not our physical body that we love. If she's in another room, I can't touch her, I can't hear her, I can't smell her, I can't see her. I still love her. So what am I loving her? The essence. And what's the essence? The divine. And that's as real an experience as the heat that you feel when you touch a hot stove. Or anything that we could hold in our hand. All it requires us to do is to say, I am prepared to accept a world and a reality in which things that cannot be weighed or measured or seen under a microscope or seen through a telescope are just as real as things that can be. Just because we don't have an instrument doesn't make it any less true. Galileo was almost hanged. Scientists who have come out with truth that they can't yet prove because we don't have the tools yet are ostracized or worse. And then a few years later or a few decades later, our tools improve. And then we say, oh, you're right, I guess the Earth isn't the center of the universe. Oh, you're right, I guess the Earth isn't flat. Well, the Earth didn't become round when we built our first telescope. It was always round. But now we have an instrument to see the truth. Prior to that, it would have taken faith. But it was no less real. And so faith just is the ability, the willingness, I should say, to accept as real and true a reality that science has not yet developed the tools for yet.